Today, my friends, we are making this beautiful Christmas quilt. It's Christmas in July.
A fat quarter is typically 21 inches by 18 inches or 18 by 22, whereas a quarter yard cut is 9 inches by 42 to 44. We are using 24 fat quarters, and we're going to lay them out and cut them into these shapes. And what I do recommend is 4 columns. And then once you have the 2 or 3 columns, then slice them up. We've put them into a different cut, each one. And now we're going to take the first one and put it on the bottom. Then we'll take the second one and put it on the bottom, the third one and put it on the bottom. And we're going to mix and match this. And again, since I do have 22 of these and I have 16 different blocks, it's going to be a little bit different than that. But the fun of it is to take them all apart, stack them back in their stacks, and then take them and just sew them all together and do that over and over and over and over again. Then we'll connect our fat quarters and we'll have a beautiful design, kind of like an I Spy quilt. It's really fun because you have so many different fabrics. Instead of the regular quilt having 4 or 5 different colors or 4 or 5 different fabrics, we are having 22 different fabrics. Each quilt block is 16 different blocks, and we are going to have such fun with this. So stack them up and have a sharp rotary blade, trim them up. I've got these on a poster board so it fits the fat quarter just perfect. And then we're counting them, moving them around, and coming up with our beautiful designs. And every single block is different. I'm loving this. I hope you are too, because we are going to start sewing in just a couple minutes. And I think I said 16. I'm sorry, it's 12. We've cut a fat quarter into 12 different blocks, and I've got 22 different fabrics here. So mix and match them, and then stir from the bottom so you get them all sorted out. You might want to put each of these into 2 different stacks and then mix and match them all. It is really fun. It's kind of like starting a puzzle, laying them all out, changing all the colors, making sure each one is a different pattern for the quilt. And now that we have them laid out, we're going to take them over to the sewing machine and put them together. This is our first block. I'm so excited. What do you think about our first block? And we are going to do the next 21 the same. So I have this poster board right next to my sewing machine. I'm pinning the pieces, and then we're going to sew them together. Pinning them, make sure that I keep them in order, and I have everything laid out just the way I want. We're going to sew the rows down, and then sew the rows across, and then the last 2 blocks we'll sew the piece on the top. And we are going to come out a little bit differently because we have 3 cuts or 4 cuts in a row instead of 4 cuts in every row. So we're going to be off about a 1/2 inch because your 1/4 inch seams on each piece is going to leave it slightly off. And my friends, I hope you always love what you do and do what you love. Using fat quarters lets us really get creative. Having 22 different fat quarters in this queen size quilt lets us put all kind of colors in. So who would I give this quilt to? Well, it's the perfect I Spy for the young or for us adventurous ones wanting to identify. And it's perfect for anybody who loves Christmas. Now, you can do these in any colors you want, whatever your favorite colors are. Mix and match, make it as as even colors as you want or as bright and bold. Make them neutrals, make them brights, make them all in cats, make them all in dogs. We're making it Christmas because it is Christmas in July, and we are putting together our Christmas crafts and getting everything ready for gifting for the holidays, giving for the holidays, and of course, those craft markets right before the holidays is a perfect time, if we make more than one, to gift and give and make lots of smiles. Pressing makes your seams lay down flat and makes it crisp and pretty, and you'll just be much, much happier having all your pieces pressed nicely. Looking good, feeling great about it. All right, let's start on the next. Looking at the blocks, we want to have enough contrast and enough color to have the bold ones separated a little bit. Realize here we have only 3 in this row, we have 4 in this row. We're going to have a half an inch off, and it's going to turn out great. You just trim those pieces after the block is put together. And we're going to go ahead and keep putting it together. And Sylvia's here with me today. She's doing most of the sewing. cut your threads as you go. You will thank yourself. And we're working with a stitch of a 3.0. We're on the Husqvarna Viking today. And Sylvia is doing a wonderful job inventing, creating, and putting this together. Hit that comment bar. Tell me what you think. We are about halfway done putting this beautiful quilt together. I am so excited about the way it looks. But again, it's going to be a queen size, so it's going to lap over. We've got to move a couple of these apart that are looking so duplicative. But this is a fast, fun quilt that you've got to try yourself.
We're choosing our blocks that we want to sew together. And someone asked me what size we cut our blocks. Well, my friends, it's actually a stack and whack. We take the fat quarters, we lay them all down, and then from the fat quarter, we want to cut 4 rows, and then we want to decide some are 2, some are 3, just to make a different pattern with beautiful blocks to go together. And you can make this in anything. You don't have to have the Christmas fabrics. You can make it in your favorite color or your favorite holiday or your favorite theme. Wendy, if I grab my fat quarter and I cut it up here, and then I cut it down here, and I make 3 cuts here, and I only make 1 cut here, it's going to come out with all different sizes. What do? Well, we trim it. When we trim it, it's going to fit with the other blocks. So yes, my friends, with this fat quarter quilt, there is a little bit of waste, but we can put that into another project. So just cut it off, and no, it will not be in a quilt project because that is only a 1/2 inch max. So we will be putting that into a craft project. Measure twice, cut once. And on these pieces, we just have that one top piece. We're going to cut those off, then we'll flip it around and do the other. Like having fun with puzzle pieces? Well, my friends, we are working on that Christmas quilt, and it is a puzzle piece treasure. Woohoo! Having fun. Lay them all out. Had so much fun making the throw quilt size that we're now making more blocks and blending them all together, adding a couple of choice colors and making it into a queen size quilt. So we're going to have a border around it, but right now it's the puzzle piece we're putting together. For our fat quarter quilt, we wanted to know what sizes. Well, if each grid mark is, each fat quarter is 19.5 by 16.5, we are looking at, once it's sewn together with 1/4 inch seams, it's going to be 19.5 by 16.5 piece. So that tells you how many pieces you need for the fat quarter. And if we look at this, our first piece is 8 by 6. So we are going to cut down that first line at 6 inches. The next line is going to get cut at 11 inches because it's 5 inches wide. And then we're going to cut the top part off, which will be 4 by 10. And then we cut the 2 rows. The first row is 4 inch wide. The second row is 6 inch wide. So I know that gets a little bit confusing, but if you look at all of these numbers, you'll see that our 18 by 21 inch fat quarter. So cut all your fat quarters to 18 by 21, put them in a whole stack, and then cut and whack. No, my friends, you do not have to use these measurements. Any measurements you make up will be great. You're looking for approximately a 4 by 4 column, and you can cut it 4 by 2, 4 by 3, 4 by 4. As you can see, all of our columns are 4 by 3 or 4 by 4. So I'm excited. Hope this helps with the numbers. All right, and here's our quilt sizes. Twin is 63 inches by 87 inches, but you know that's a couple inches on either side is okay. And then we have our double. Our queen is what I usually make, which is approximately 84 by 92 inches. Now, these are just standard sizes. You can increase or decrease however you want to put it. Again, with the crib size, I do like having it more like a 40 by 70 or 50 by 70 for my couch throws because I like them to cover my legs. But you do you. These are just standard sizes. You make it any size you want it to be. And we continue to put our beautiful puzzle pieces together and fill in all of the spaces. We want to make sure as few as possible colors are touching each other. And I am just loving this puzzle. Do y'all like puzzle teasers? Well, my friends, this fat quarter quilt is for you. All right, then we take it row by row. We're going to pen our pieces so we know exactly where they go so we don't get mixed up on those. And pen them on the bed and take them to the sewing machine. And this is just to help us keep track when we get to the sewing machine. And I can see we need our lint roller out on our bed before we put the sheets back on. Crazy. I am loving this, my friends. Have any of y'all heard of an I Spy quilt? This Christmas quilt kind of reminds me of that. It's fun, it's fanciful, it's bright, it's happy, it's cheerful. What do you think? Hit that comment button below. I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of this Christmas quilt? We are using so many fat quarters. I am so excited about this quilt. Okay, and then we're just going to stack it up so we can bring it over to the sewing machine, put it through the neck of the machine. And I do want to tell you about our pens we're using today. We're using a magnet to help hold them, and these are glass head, very thin pens, which are ideal for doing this kind of work. You can sew over them, although we do pull them out before we get there. So good idea to have yourself a stack of these, as well as get yourself a magnet. You can get this in the sewing section. You can get similar in the tool section, my friends. Yes, Home Depot for sewing supplies. Beat that. And then once we get over to the sewing machine, we got to refigure ourselves out a little bit. Make sure our top and our bottom line up. Do everything you normally do to sew a block together. And if you trim your threads as soon as you make them, you'll have less stress in the end. See, we're coming up on our pin. I'm just going to pull that out, put it on our beautiful little magnet dish. Accurate is slow and slow is accurate, my friends. Or you can say accurate is slow and slow is fast. Or accurate is slow and accurate is fast. Woo! Tongue tire. I'll get that straight. As you notice, Sylvia held her strings, or as she started her threads, and then she trimmed them, leaving about a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch on there, so they'll be less likely to pull or torque in the long run. And again, probably not necessary using a tight stitch, but it's a habit, it's a nice habit to get into. And Sylvia has all of her seams pressed down, flattened down. So where she's sewing, she doesn't have to worry about the seams underneath because they're always going to be going down. So the needle and the stitching won't try to pull it upright when it's weighted against the sewing machine. having crisply pressed seams is very important when you're quilting. We have our next 2 rows to put together, and Sylvia has pinned these at every seam and in between. So if we take a look, each seam is being held down by the pins. These are the glass head, very thin pins, and she's going to pull these and not run over them with the sewing machine. And the more I look at this quilt, the more I love it. We have just sewn together this seam, so we're going to go press it, but I love, 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 love this quilt. And sewing half of the quilt to the other half of the quilt. Feeling excited! Woohoo! And it's a lot of bulk to work with. And we're sewing the last row on before we start our borders. So taking out the first pen, bringing it over. So after this, we iron it, we trim, and we add our 2, we think we're doing 2 borders on the outside, we think. We are sewing our border onto the Christmas quilt. So my friends, what have you made for Christmas in July? Hit that comment button. I want to know if you are working on a project this July season, this Christmas in July. And we're adding a 2.5-inch red border onto our quilt. To tie it all together, bring it together, put a frame around it, and I am loving it. And there you have it, my friends. The beautiful Christmas quilt is complete. I am in love. Look at these incredible borders. And we are ready to go lay it on the bed. So thanks for joining us today as we took a lot of fat quarters and chopped them all up identical to one another. It's a stack and whack. And again, I've previously given you our numbers and how we did it, but that doesn't mean anything, my friends. You can do you and change it any way you want to. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you again real soon. Bye.